What's going on, everybody? We are here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina, where the Speed Racing Series is back in town to host round number 6 of the season. In case you missed what happened out at Darlington, Nick Pericles held off a furious late charge by Charles Sanford to claim the win over there, the first of his career. And by finishing second, Sanford now grows his point lead to 123 over Yoshiko Sakamoto, while other title contender Luke Martin crashed out in that race and has now fallen to 4th in the point standings, 152 points back. Anyway, the night sky is fully alive here at Charlotte for our 3rd straight night race. What kind of action will we get to see this evening? Stick around and find out. Let's start the show. For all the drivers in tonight's field that raced here last season, I bet you they still have the nature of that race still fresh in their minds. The first half, calm and serene, while the second half was pure calamity. Lots of action, lots of accidents, and I bet you every one of these drivers definitely doesn't want to be a victim of one tonight. But it's bound to be one hot night here at Charlotte. Here comes your first-time pole sitter, Scott Roush, leading the field to the green flag, and it is waving. Round number 6 is underway. The 50 of Scott Roush in those AT&T colors gets to lead lap 1. But look at that, he's under fire from the 35 PetSmart Chevy of Austin Montgomery, the rookie. For S3 Motorsports, he's trying to power on by to the lead. And he may have some help from his teammate Ryan Dagby in that 03 car, trying to get by that Rambler racing machine of Scott Roush. It'll be an S3 2-for-1 move on Roush. Charles Sanford trying to make something happen in 4th, side by side for 5th. Harrison Riley and Luke Martin are right there. RJ Bishop, who had a real strong race out at Darlington, he's also running in the top 10, running real good. And the 50 of Roush bopped the wall out of turn 2. Thankfully, he didn't bottleneck everyone behind him, and that could have definitely been bigger than what it turned out to be. And look at that 50 car drifting way up the track. And he's on the outside of a 3-wide scenario between Luke Martin and TJ Smith. Smith in that 24 trying to join his 2 teammates at the front of the field. And wow, Martin and Roush close again. And for Roush, this is definitely not a scenario that he wants to be a part of. He's already fallen outside the top 5, and he's in danger of losing even more positions. Now Zachary Fitzwater and Lane Sanders are attacking him. Also, Nick Pericles in the 31 is there. But up to the lead, Sanford underneath Dagby for position number 2. 3 on 1. On the inside line, make it 4 with Luke Martin joining that tail end of that group. Montgomery still powering on by. Harrison Riley trying to dive underneath Sanford. Martin trying to go underneath Bishop. Look at how many versatile lines these drivers are using. Dagby falling outside the top 5. His teammate TJ Smith is there behind him. Lane Sanders up here in the 8th position. Zachary Fitzwater. And here's Jesse Turner having a real solid night in that 94 U.S. Air Force car. Last season, he had the class of the car field, leading many laps until blowing an engine from the lead and killing his night. But that Lake Effect Autosport team, they got some fresh equipment along with the 43 of Mixon, so Turner driving that forward up into the top 10. But Scott Roush looking to take back what was his and also storm back up to the front of the field too. Looks like Sanford's going to try and pass Montgomery right here for the lead. Who got it that time? Sanford did. At the end of lap 7, Sanford. A scene that we've gotten to see plenty of times. Sanford getting an early lead, but good job by Montgomery holding his own and getting to taste of the lead. Like, for a rookie driver like him, that's the kind of experience that he needs in order to grow and learn and to get better at his craft. But now it's a trio of S3 Motorsports cars in the top 5 trying to chase down Martin and Stanford. Martin sees an opportunity to get by that 16, and he's trying his best to get it done. Through turn 2 he goes, and he does clear the 16 of Sanford. Put that M&M's Ford Fusion out to the front here at Charlotte. And if you remember last season's exhilarating finish, that'll definitely go down as a classic good finish here in the Speed Racing Series. It was between these two drivers here, Martin, Sanford, Lucas Catano, and Ryan Griffin, with Catano getting the best out of those 4 drivers for his first career triumph. Sanford goes to the inside again. These 2 drivers are going to flip-flop their roles. And here comes Dagby in the 03 getting a draft from 3rd place, and at least trying to take the runner-up spot from Martin. Here's Lane Sanders running real strong in that Domino's machine up in the top 5. He had a bad breakout at Richmond, suffering a bad result there, but he rebounded to finish 13th at Darlington. So maybe things could be on the upswing for Sanders, but right now he is the top Spa car in the field. Zachary Bilson also in the thick of this pack. RJ Bishop, and there's 3 wide with Montgomery way down on the inside. But I don't think that 35 has enough oomph going through the corners. He's going to back off and let his teammate Dagby go to get into 3rd. The 50 of Scott Roush still slipping back from starting on the pole. He loses positions to Turner, Fitzwater, and last season's winner Lucas Catano. Anyway, Roush down to 15th, as he has a green and black rear bumper of Zachary Fitzwater dead ahead of him, and he's trapped with no place to go. James Ellison looking to pounce on getting by Roush. Same thing with Vince Fries. And here's the home state man, Zachary DeLello from North Carolina himself, also fighting in this little group of race cars. And your winner out at Richmond, Noah Hart, also taking battle here. Hart running 19th, his teammate Kyle Collins in the 19, rounding out the top 20. Right here's 2 of the Spa teammates, and one of them gets in the wall. That was the 81 of Christian Vargas. He's going to lose plenty of ground to his teammate Major Robinson in the 84. Here's Yoshika Sakamoto going on by, and Brian Griffin and Dylan Young are also going to take that 81 3 wide, and will more than likely get him for that position. Luke Martin's gotten to hold the spotlight over Charles Sanford, but now down to the inside goes the 16 again to take it back. These 2 have been flip-flopping for the lead for a while now, but even though we're only 23 laps into this race, these 2 guys right here, they're showing you why they're the best, highest class drivers in the whole series. And down to the inside of Martin, here comes Aiden Smith in the 68, showing his face in the top 5 for the very first time. He'll go by his fellow Ford man of Martin, and he'll take that DraftKings Ford up to P2. And Austin Montgomery, the rookie, he's not done fighting in the top 5 just yet. Trying to get every ounce of momentum that he can underneath Martin. Doesn't think he can do it quite yet. Out of turn 2, Zachary Bilson, another rookie contender. He's the top pole position racing driver running right now at 6th. He took 5th from Lane Sanders right there, so Sanders down to 6th after being passed by Bilson. And behind that 87, here's your defending race winner from Charlotte, Lucas Catano, doing his best to maintain his king status here. He led Martin Motorsports to their very first 1-2 finish right here. And up in the distance, there goes the 68 of Aiden Smith, trying to go on by the 16 Sanford for the lead. A phenomenal run by this Novasport team. And if you remember, out at California Speedway for round 3, it was between these 2 drivers that duked it out for the victory over there before Sanford got the best of Smith with 5 laps to go. There goes that 68, trying to hook that car down on the bottom, and he's going to go by Aiden Smith. He did officially lead that lap that time, but he is officially clear. Martin to the inside of Sanford. And just check out that camera shot. The entire vicinity of the top 10 is within sight. You got Smith, Sanford, Martin, Montgomery, Bilson, Sanders, Catano, Riley, and the 2 Rambler cars of Bishop and Pericles. But these are so many strong names and so many strong cars engaging in battle, and it's just amazing to see. In races like this, you can definitely tell who the cream of the crop is going to be. And so far on the night, looks like Aiden Smith might be that guy. Oh no, engine troubles for Justin Henley in the 70 car, going down the backstretch. And man, what a super unfortunate situation for that team, as there goes the leaders on by on the outside. But this is Henley's 4th start of the season. He was running 41st. His team has failed to qualify for 2 out of the 6 races held this season. But each race they've been in, they haven't really had that much to brag about. But this will no doubt be a day-ender for that Henley Bemidji racing team. And they're going to have a disappointing drive all the way back up to Minnesota where their shop is. Now the leaders have caught their first series of lap cars. Smith up to the outside, but I don't know if that's the ideal place for him to be. Sanford going down low, and he's got the advantage going into 3. Nathan Orman, Diego Yepes, and Grantley King all lie ahead of these guys. And just as I thought, Smith, by going on the outside, he will lose the lead, and Sanford will now inherit that spot. But where can he go? He's got Yepes ahead of him, but Yepes is going to drift up the track, going to give Sanford that bottom line. Oh, and the 57 of King nearly slid up into the wall, but thankfully he didn't in that newly Jack Daniels sponsored ride. Also, a new sponsor for Nathan Orman in the 17, Ram Tool, giving them support this weekend. And poor Lane Sanders, he's going to get cucked by both these lap cars, and he'll fall outside the top 5. Going to run in 6th now, and he's now boxed in behind the 17. But Smith and Martin not giving up. As Memphis Fisher in the 62, he's a long distance ahead of these leaders, so they have plenty of time before they run him down. Oh, someone else with engine woes. This time it's Noah Hart in the 18 JBL car. From 18th on the track, running really decently. But on lap 37, now his engine has gone kaboom. His cockpit all full of smoke. Noah Hart 5th in the standings coming into this race weekend. And he's not going to turn any more laps tonight, it looks like, and he's going to take a big points dip for sure. Looking at some drivers in the field running just outside the top 10. We'll check on them and see how their races are coming along. Vince Fries in the 21 running 11th. TJ Smith in 12th with Joseph Srigley close behind him in 13th. Scott Roush, your pole sitter, 14th, who's going way up on the high side of the track, trying to hold off Major Robinson and Ryan Dagby. 17th place, Ryan Griffin. He's leading this huge conglomerate of cars here in 17th. This car went upside down here last season with Yoshiko Sakamoto at the wheel. But so far, Griffin keeping that car all 4 wheels down for now. James Ellison in 18th, trying to defend Dylan Young and Zachary DeLello for that spot. Outside the top 20, here's Zachary Fitzwater, 21st. Here's Christian Vargas. Here's Jesse Turner, who we saw crack the top 10 at the beginning of the race, but he's gotten shafted down to the 20s right now. Anthony McLaurin, 24th in that Rain Energy car. Kyle Collins in 25th. Not having an ideal night for himself, too. He wishes he could be running higher. The 43 of Glenn Nixon carrying new black and green colors tonight with Fitzgerald bladder kits on that car. He's 26th. And this is a bizarre sight. Yoshiko Sakamoto all the way down here at 27 in that Exalta Chevy. That car definitely not on par with how her 2 teammates are doing. She's stuck way down here. Cantley Daniel in the 10 car running 28th. Here's Shade Eves 29th. Kugan Berchasek, he's 40th in the 58. And then the final group of lead lap cars, Alexander Rowe, DJ Curtis, Roberto Crown Jr., Nick Breeding, Saber Fox, who qualified that 34 car in the top 20. A great job by that Furry Row Motorsports team getting their best qualifying effort, but they've slipped all the way back down here. And then Lee Smith in that 04 Armorall car, rounding out the lead lap cars in 35th. The 12 car, Harrison Riley, ducking for pit road. He was scored in the 10th position last time by, and this is much too early to be making a green flag pit stops. Not quite sure if this is scheduled or not. But if this is scheduled, that 12 team is definitely getting gutsy with their pit strategy. But nonetheless, they're going to try this out. But the worst thing they need is a caution. But maybe they'll avoid one and maybe the strategy can work out for them. Meanwhile, here comes Aiden Smith down to the inside of Sanford through 3 and 4. He's going to make another attempt to steal the lead back from him. He's got the 20 car Catano behind him trying to help, and Smith gets Sanford at the line. That 68 just noses ahead, but of course, fully solidifying the pass is what's going to matter the most. Smith, he's still going to rely on Catano for help. Martin is also there to give him a push, and there he goes. The 68 is clear of that red number 16. Smith is going to take the lead back here at Charlotte. And of course, Smith, he's going to want a much different outcome than what he had at California when he finished runner-up to Sanford. And look at that 68. He's going to zoom past the rest of the top 5. He's already ahead of them by a dozen car lengths. Catano now side by side with Sanford for second place. You got Martin in fourth. Here's Zachary Bilson, the top rookie in the order right now, as Nick Breeding in the 00. He's now pinning for tires. A tough break for Breeding. He's definitely going to go down a lap, but Bilson, like I said, the top rookie in the race right now in fifth, just holding off Lane Sanders as the Martin duo of Catano and Martin. They now duke it out for third. But Sanford, it's now going to be his job again to reel back down that 68. And another car blowing up. This time it's Dylan Young. The engine blowing all to pieces in that 07. He was running in the 16th position. And it's now the third engine failure that we've seen happen here tonight. Man, another good result was potentially brewing for Young and that Monster Motorsports team, as Memphis Fisher and also Diego Yepes are now pitting. But that's not going to happen anymore for Young, and he is now going to join Noah Hart and Justin Henley in the garage. Cycling back up to the top 6, here's Stanford, Smith, Catano, Sanders, Martin, and Bilson, all casually cruising along. And ahead of these guys, here's some lap cars that they'll eventually be getting to. Kugan Berchasik in the 58, Roberto Crown Jr. in the 23. Oh, but back once again down to the inside. Aiden Smith over Charles Sanford. But Smith is going to get to make an easy pass here and take the lead back. Oh, caution is out. Yellow flag is flying over the speedway. Oh, and it happened down the backstretch. Oh, 4 cars are in it. Shantley Daniel, Yoshiko Sakamoto, second in the points. She's in it, along with Kyle Collins and Anthony McClure. Oh, those 4 drivers must have come together in a big way. But on lap 55, the pace car is going to get to make its first ever appearance. Aiden Smith still holds P1. Looks like the 7 of Anthony McClure is going to be the one centered at the start of the crash. He was in 20th, ahead of the 59 of Zachary Fitzwater, who's on his tailpipes. And the 59 is going to dump the 7, going down the backstretch. And here he comes, spinning right up into the path of the 66. Oh, big hit! Both the 7 and the 19 actually go over. My goodness, a scary-looking crash here for the second straight season at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And all 4 of those cars really got torn up. Pretty ironic how it's the 2 energy drink-sponsored cars in the field that end up tangling here and setting off this very hard crash just before the halfway point. Here's the 59 of Fitzwater getting up to the 7. He gets to his left rear bumper. He might have gotten him a little arrow loose as they both go through turn 2. The 7 tries to regain control, but the 59 keeps making more contact. And eventually he's going to turn that 7 of Anthony McClure around, hurling towards that inside wall. And bam, a big impact with the right side of his Dodge. McClure is just a passenger at this point. But the worst is yet to come. Here's Sakamoto in the 66, with Kyle Collins and Shantley Daniel trailing her. And you know this is looking bad already. And boom, she gives the 7 car a walloping hit. She jacks the 7 car off the ground. She also gets 2 wheels in the air. And there goes the 7 and the 19 cars, both tumbling down the Charlotte backstretch. The 19 ends up rolling over the top of the 66. And the 7 car hits the inside wall again and does another barrel roll. And both those cars will come to rest wheels down. But wow, the 66, the 19, and the 7 all destroyed. The 10 of Shantley Daniel, he was the only one able to drive it back to pit road. And just like we saw out at Phoenix, it's another double flip. And this incident will more than likely cause Sakamoto to lose second place in the point standings. But at this juncture, you just hope those 3 drivers are okay. They can get healed up and be able to race at Dover for the next race on the schedule. Let's get you some onboards of what just took place, beginning with the car that triggered it all, Zachary Fitzwater in the 59. From the viewpoint of Anthony McClure, watch the ride he takes. For the second straight season, Yoshiko Sakamoto takes a hard hit at Charlotte. This is what she saw. Yellow flag pit stops have just wrapped up for most of the field, but Charles Sanford from second, he's got an issue. Hearing him talk to his team on the radio, he's saying the brakes are going soft on that Chevy. So whenever he touches the brake pedal, it's getting soft on him. And at a place where you're going as fast as you are, you definitely don't need that. And wow, what a big shakeup this is going to be for this race. He's going to bring it to the attention of his team, and maybe they'll give him new brake fluid to try and fix it. Charles Sanford coming back onto the track. He does remain on the lead lap, but he's just going to be a tad bit late to the party here for this restart on lap 59. Field's already approaching the start-finish line, as you see, but your new top 5 is Smith, Kitano, Martin, Sanders, and Bishop. There's the green flag waving, and the field is turned loose yet again. As you can see on the scoreboard, the top 6 are all Ford drivers. And here goes the 20 Kitano, trying to make a pass for the lead and dethrone the 68 from that position. Looks like he might have a good amount of advantage with him. Here's his teammate and his boss, Luke Martin, trying to give him a helping hand. And Kitano's going to beat Aiden Smith to the line to get his first lap lead of the night. And this duo of the 20 and the 54, they're definitely shaping up to be one dangerous pair. Behind these guys, here's RJ Bishop and Lane Sanders trying to attack the 68 per position. While these boys are duking it out, why don't we go back to Charles Sanford and check his progress. Right now, he's stuck back in 28th with the 04 of Lee Smith ahead of him. Oh, trouble up ahead! Another big crash! Almost upside down goes the 58! Montgomery is around! Ryan Dagby, Shade Eves, Lee Smith, Owen Fitzwater collides with Eves! And both of their cars are now toast! A major amount of front-end damage to Fitzwater. Major Robinson, I know he was involved. Zachary DeLello, Alexander Rowe. The 10 of Shantley Daniel might or may not have been involved. Roberto Crown Jr., he's got his front end smashed up. There's the 58 of Kugan Brachasik, who nearly went over. Ryan Dagby, he got a piece of it. Same thing with Austin Montgomery in the 35. But boy, oh boy, just as quickly as the green flag flies, so does the yellow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's now the second crazy crash that we'll get to analyze here this evening. Kugan Brachasik riding up on the outside. Nathan Orman comes up and makes contact with him. They get Austin Montgomery tied up in their mess, and there they all go. Eves piles in, Lee Smith, Ryan Dagby, and many more. I mean, the front stretch just became a smoke show, and guys were plowing into the wreck with very little vision, and this is the result. So this whole mess basically begins because of a squeeze play by the 58, the 17, and the 35. Running 3 wide out of turn 4 here at Charlotte. You only have so much room coming out of that corner, and they eventually do run out of room, and they all squeeze into each other. The 35 gets pitched sideways in front of a bunch of cars. and that causes everyone behind him to go into panic mode. And then the 35 squeezes the 58 on top of the wall, and he rides it like a skateboard. Then he gets kicked off of it and eventually comes down on all four wheels, but it's not over. The 83 of Eves, he goes spinning. Major Robinson, Zachary Fitzwater, and Zachary DeLello get involved too. But up ahead, look at Charles Sanford. Not too long, we saw him running back with that scramble of race cars. And it looks like Sanford is going to get away from this wreck with very little scratches. A mighty impressive job by Sanford to avoid disaster, while many drivers behind him were not as lucky. The 04 of Lee Smith gets away. Oh, and that's an unfortunate collision right there between the Novasport teammates. Fitzwater and Eves were basically fine until Fitzwater came along and cleaned Eves out. If any of you are interested in taking skateboarding lessons, Kugan Berchasik is the guy for you. Check out this trick that he pulls. Zachary Fitzwater was fortunate to dodge the first big crash, but this time he wasn't as lucky to dodge this one. Final on board goes to your points leader, Charles Sanford. Watch him weave his way through this melee. I guarantee you that had to make him sweat a couple bullets inside his helmet, but he missed it, and he is still in contention. You like lucky numbers? 13 cars were listed as being involved in that big crash on the front stretch. But this does give everyone a chance to go pit again. But watch what happens here. Luke Martin, who was the leader coming in, bam, gets slammed into the right side door by DJ Curtis. And right there, I bet will probably cause Martin to lose the lead, but a lot of other guys had other differing pit strategies, so we'll see how they're going to line up when the field goes green again here. So if you're wondering why the top 10 looks a little funky, there's a good reason why. The top 7 cars all took fuel only on that most recent round of pit stops, which means Lane Sanders gets to lead the way here, his teammate Christian Vargas in second, followed by Glenn Nixon, Zachary Bilson, Saber Fox, James Ellison, and Scott Roush. 8th place Vince Fries took 2 right side tires, while Lucas Catano and Luke Martin, they all took 4 fresh tires, as did everyone else. But for the 2 Spod teammates at the front of the field, this is a dream scenario for them. How well will they continue to capitalize on this opportunity? We are green flag racing again here on lap 66. It's Sanders leading the field. The top 3 of Sanders, Vargas, Nixon, and also top 4 if you count Zachary Bilson, they're able to escape the inside line that was filled with lap cars, but it doesn't look like James Ellison and Saber Fox are able to do the same. Diego Yepes and Nick Breeding blocking both lines, trapping the 3 and 34 behind them. Ellison going to try and get to the inside of the 00 and get clear of another lap car. But give a pat on the back to the 34 team of Saber Fox for trying out a new strategy and racing in the top 5. That's got to be a feel-good feeling for the driver out of Kansas, who I'm sure is just finally glad to have a clean race going their way so far. 34 car now in 6th. Saber trying to hold off the Rambler duo of Scott Roush and Vince Fries. Oh, and Nathan Orman, he's sliding his 17 car against the wall back there, but no one's going to lose control. Back up to the front, change for second place. Glenn Nixon, the South Carolina native, he's now sailed into second. And Zachary Bilson, he's trying to chase him down in third. They have both passed the 81 of Christian Vargas to take that spot. And here goes Zachary Bilson. He's going to try and use that Toyota power to try and go by the Ford of Nixon. I mean, isn't it something how just one simple call on top of the pit box by your crew chief can get you up in a much higher position, and now that means we'll have new drivers to talk about. Just like Lane Sanders leading his 4th consecutive lap as we hit lap 70. He's got to be very thrilled leading the way, but he's got a hungry Zachary Bilson close behind. And again, a pat on the back to this 43 Lake Effect Autosport team of Glenn Nixon. Like I mentioned earlier tonight, both he and his teammate of Turner getting fresh race cars and bringing them down here to Charlotte for this weekend. And definitely putting them to good use as Bilson, he's going to try and challenge Sanders for the lead. Christian Vargas watching all these battles rage on ahead of him. Looks like Sanders, he's going to wash up the track, and that'll make way for the rookie of Bilson. Oh, and Sanders gets a little wiggly and slides up into the wall, getting onto the backstretch. And that's going to give second place back to Nixon in the 43. And those two Spa teammates, they were 1-2 on the beginning of the restart, but now they are 3-4. But time is still on their side, and they are many cars ahead of the rest of the people up in the top 10. If you're a Charles Sanford fan, don't you worry. He's just doing his normal thing, slicing his way through the field and getting back up to the front of the pack where he likes to be. Right now, he's trying to take the 8th position from Luke Martin, where we saw that duo battle for the lead many laps ago as well. Oh, back there, the 68 of Aiden Smith really getting onto the wall right there through turn 2. Oh, and that's made him drop all the way outside the top 15. That's a bummer for Aiden Smith. And that's a far cry from where we've seen him run earlier in the night. Maybe he might be able to march his way back up through the pack. Oh, and Nick Breeding, he's got problems going through turn 1. Trying his best to get out of harm's way. Everybody jamming on the brakes, including Alexander Rowe. Nathan Orman bopping off the wall again, but aw, dang, what a real shame for Nick Breeding on lap 74 here. Don't know if these issues could be engine-related or fuel-related, or it's definitely got to be a problem under the hood for that Permatex team. So they'll have some work to do when he gets back to their pit stall. Anyway, going back up to Charles Sanford, where I was talking about him. Looks like he lost a little bit of ground right there. He's now down to 10th. And here's the 50 of Scott Roush, who just took 6th from James Ellison. There goes Ellison sliding up high, making room on the bottom for Luke Martin. But from 6th on back, it's this hornet's nest of race cars. Here's Mixon getting passed by Vince Freeze. Freeze is now on the move. Like I said, he took 2 right side tires on that pit stop, while everyone else around him didn't take any. They just took fuel only. But still, Bilson, he's confident that his engine is strong enough to let him maximize being out in the clean air as long as he can. And he feels good enough to keep that 13 out in the lead for many more laps. But we'll see what the 87, the 81, and the 21 can do. Sanford in the 16 making another daring pass on the track. And he's going to get a 2 for 1 as he gets out of turn 2 over Martin and Roush. I swear, folks, like, the way that Sanford's driving, it just almost leaves you speechless. We saw this man restart outside the top 15, and at one point he was outside the top 25, not even 20 laps ago. And already, by lap 80, he's already up to 6th, and he's looking for more. Christian Vargas lays dead ahead. And up ahead, a challenge for the lead. Lane Sanders, he's got enough of a run in that Domino's Ford, being pushed by the 21 of Freeze, who has slightly fresher tires. But these two Ford drivers are going to choose to help each other out. The 21 stays glued to the rear bumper of the 87, but now Bilson trying to go for the crossover move on Freeze. And you can't count Mixon out in that fresh equipment there in that 43 car riding 4th. Bilson, the lone Toyota, gobbled up in a Ford sandwich around him. And Christian Vargas gets a little tight going through 3 and 4. That's going to move the door open for Charles Sanford. And also RJ Bishop trying to follow him through as well. I tell you, just exciting racing all around. Oh, it's Vargas. He really gets tight and gets up into the wall. Or loose, I should say. Maybe that 81 team is probably thinking they should have put tires on that car, because I'm sure Vargas, he's really wrestling the steering wheel, trying to keep that thing straight. But we did have another pass for the lead. Sanders, he loses 2 positions on that exchange. But he's going to try and take it back from Bilson. Here's Bishop and Sanford trying to take the 4th place from Mixton right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I swear, this is the most fantastic racing I've seen all season, and this is only round 6. We still have 10 more rounds to go after this race. Round number 7 is going to be held at Dover Speedway in Delaware. But if the racing keeps going this way, I'm sure the bar is going to be set very high for the remainder of the races to try and reach. But this is very exciting. Oh, peekaboo, Lane Sanders. Here comes RJ Bishop and Charles Stanford down below the 87, and up into the wall he goes. I think those 2 drivers might have spooked the Alabama native of Sanders, and it caused him to lose his attention for a split second, and he slides up into the wall. And check this out, the 12 of Harrison Riley, who we saw go a lap down and was lucky to get a wave around on one of the cautions. He's up in 8th now, or 7th, as he just took that spot away from the 43. My goodness, and you also got Nick Pericles, who's clawed his way back up here into the top 10 after being away from it for most of the evening. Lucas Catano at the tail end of this pack, also trying to make a little bit of noise. And there goes Sanford. He is now in a podium position, and he's got the 21 and the 13 dead sight ahead. The racing here at Charlotte continues to be wild and wacky as the leaders now work their way around the wounded 23 of Roberto Crown Jr. And I think Bilson may have gotten slipped up a little bit out of the exit of turn 2. Here comes Freeze in the 21 to the bottom, trying to get assistance from Charles Sanford as much as he can and get that Ford Fusion of his into clean air. Wow, folks, I mean, even though we're 30 laps away from the end of this thing, you still got to pay attention to every lap because a lot is definitely happening. Oh, the 13 of Bilson. He now gets the right side of that Toyota into the wall. You got to wonder if maybe some of the cars who only took fuel, they're maybe paying the price for not having fresh rubber to keep their cars from slipping out underneath them. And down to the inside for the race lead, Charles Sanford. A miraculous recovery by that Joseph Strigley Racing campaigner. And look, that he's going to blow by Vince Freeze out of turn 2 as Bilson gets into the wall again in the camera frame. Here's RJ Bishop also trying to be sly and sliding up into second ahead of Freeze. Here's Lane Sanders in the 87 not giving up. He thought about passing the 12 O'Reilly, but he didn't have enough of an edge to do it out of turn number 4. He'll try and hold off Mixon and Martin. But now it's up to the 38 and the 21, the 2 Rambler cars. Gonna try and do their best to come up with a game plan and run down the 16. Sanford again in the midst of more lap cars. They're surrounding him from all sides. Oh, in contact! Sanford sideways out of turn 4. But he's able to hang on. Wow, how about that? Make that 2 super close calls for Sanford, with dodging a bullet and avoid getting crashed up. He holds the lead. Now he's got the 99 of DJ Curtis to deal with after he got damaged from making contact with Luke Martin on pit road. Sanford survives another scare. Now he's got Bishop right behind him. Speaking of Luke Martin, here he is, boxed in behind the 58 of Berchasik, and he's now dropped down to 8th. Trying to follow Zachary Bilson through, along with Glenn Mixon. Oh, and a Roush in the 50 car, dragging the wall. But Martin's still making his way up, and another top 10 run could very well be in the works for him. As up ahead, a battle for the lead. Once again, Bishop has that blue 38, powering down to the inside of Sanford, and he's going to get him at the line to lead lap 95. We are now in the final 25 laps here in North Carolina, folks. Bishop, along with his teammate Vince Freeze, they're going to try their best to give Rambler Racing a second straight victory. Oh no, down the back straightaway, the engine is letting go on the 35 of Austin Montgomery. And that makes him the 4th driver to have engine troubles during this race. There go the leaders racing on by. But Montgomery was scored in the 24th position, last car on the lead lap. He qualified that Chevy in 3rd and was running superbly early on, but he was collected in that big 13-car melee and was just trying his best to limp that car home. But sadly, his night is going to come to an end 18 laps too soon. Lap by lap, Charles Sanford has been following the 38 of RJ Bishop, but so far has made no attempts to pass him. He tries to peek out low right there, but Sanford just playing it as patiently as he can, trying to study where RJ is going on the racetrack, figuring out his strengths and his weaknesses. And now Sanford's going to take the chance right here, right now. On lap 107, the 16's going to draw alongside Bishop's Ford. There's still plenty of time left, even though the laps are clicking away. Now the 16 is back clear again. And Bishop instantly tries to cross over on Sanford's Chevy. And with this dogfighting going on between these two drivers, what's the 12 of Riley going to do from 3rd place? Riley's teammate Zachary Bilson, who's still running in the top 5, doing a solid job. He's gotten to know what it's like to run at the front of the field. Now Harrison Riley wants his own turn at that opportunity as Bishop passes the 16 again. But the 12 is closed in. What about the winner out of Darlington, Nick Pericles? Can he go back to back? He's also trying to draw in on this trio up the lead. We also have Bilson, Catano, Freeze, and Martin on this little pack of race cars. Any one of them has a good chance to win here. Your leaders have approached some good old-fashioned lap traffic yet again. They've gotten by the 84 Major Robinson, Roberto Crown Jr. in the purple 23. Now the 57 Jack Daniels car, Grantley King. There go the 38 and the 16 on by him. But King, despite all the circumstances surrounding Southern Lightning Automotive and whether they were even going to be here for this weekend or not, but Brian Grigsby, who normally drove the 75, he's fully departed from the series. But King has now taken control of this team. He's still going to keep it running, and he'll still field the 57 Chevy for himself. That way he'll still keep making races and still keep that car in owner's points contention. So that's what he's attempting to do, as Harrison Riley's closing down on him. Here comes Sanford and Bishop up again. Next lap car they'll get to is the 62 of Memphis Fisher. Running a couple laps down at 29th. And oh, here they go, the 38 and the 16. Are they going to try and split the 62? Fisher drifting up to the outside of the track, which is going to block RJ Bishop. That might be the saving grace that Sanford needs. But hang on, look at that 38 trying storm by Sanford on the outside. Now he's back ahead of Sanford. Now he just needs to get rid of the 62 entirely as Nathan Norman is heading for the pits. Oh, but he's still being trapped up high. He's still got the 62 in his way. Sanford, Riley, and Pericles all go to the bottom, trying to freight train RJ Bishop. Fisher up into the wall. Bishop goes by through the middle. Fisher hits the wall again. We're in the final 5 laps here at the 1.5-mile Charlotte Motor Speedway. We got a 4-car heated battle in the mix for the win once again here. But Sanford is the only constant player from last season until now. Bishop, Riley, and Pericles, all new players. Looks like Vince Friese and Luke Martin, they're a little bit too far behind to do anything. But that'd be a tough break for RJ Bishop if he ends up losing. He's got a closer chance of victory tonight than he did at Darlington. And he's come too far to give up now. But Sanford Carr, he's in the clean air now, and he's looking strong. 3 more times around Charlotte. He's now past Alexander Rowe in the 14, who's running 22nd, running real good. Now we're down to 21 cars on the lead lap, with Saber Fox still on the lead lap in 21st. But the 12 of Riley, he's having a difficult time trying to pass Rowe. And that's just going to clog everyone up behind him. Now Martin, Freeze, and Catano is also drawn in. Lee Smith in the 04 also heading for pit road. 2 more times around. Can any of these guys get clear of the 14 and chase down Charles Sanford? Sanford, your points leader. It's going to be another monumental point tonight if he can just keep that car on the racetrack and make it around 1.5 more times. And with Yoshiko Sakamoto crashing out and Pericles and Martin running behind him, it looks like he's on good course to do something great. White flag is waving here from Charlotte. Sanford grows out to an expanding lead. Riley, Bishop, Pericles, and the rest of these guys, they're falling even further behind. And Charles Sanford is seeing them getting smaller and smaller in his rearview mirror. And that's going to be all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Out of turn 4 for his second win of the season, Charles Sanford wins a wild one here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And again, he'll get to send that entire Joseph Strigley Racing team into total jubilation when he gets to see them down in Victory Lane. But believe me, people, this win was no walk in the park. Think about that onboard we showed you when Sanford almost got swept up in that big melee on the front stretch. That could have ended his night and Sanford wouldn't even be in this position. But fortunately, he was able to make it through without much harm, charge his way up through the pack like he knows how to do, and was able to get by RJ Bishop with 5 laps to go. And he's going to ride off into the North Carolina sunset on top. But another night of what could have been for drivers like RJ Bishop and Harrison Riley. Even though Bishop gets third, his best ever finish, he's going to have to wait for another chance to seek victory. But tonight shows how fast he can really go in one of these cars. Rambler Racing provides him some great stuff. One last look at the top 10. Sanford prevails over Harrison Riley, RJ Bishop. Your last week's winner, Nick Pericles, comes home 4th. Lucas Catano in 5th. Rest of the top 10, Vince Rees in 6th. Zachary Bilson, a personal best result for him in 7th. Luke Martin 8th. TJ Smith 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Ryan Griffin. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up our time here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was definitely one of the more entertaining races I've ever gotten to witness. And it looks like, at least for another season, this place will maintain its aggressive and beastly nature. So for the last time, I hope you folks were entertained by this race. Round number 7 is going to be held at Dover Speedway, where we're going to get back to short tracking here for the Speed Racing Series. Here come your points and results for round number 6. One more time, congratulations to the 16 team and Charles Sanford on capturing this fantastic come-from-behind win at Charlotte. Y'all take it easy.